10 o'clock. I think we have a quorum here for sure. Why don't we go ahead and get started here? I do not see our prayer today.
I'm not sure.
So, since that's the case, then I'll just do it myself then.
That's good.
Whose turn is it to lead the pledges today?
Jason did it last meeting.
Gary.
Gary?
Jason did it last time.
Well, please rise and bow your heads. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for this opportunity to come before you and do the business of this county. Lord, we ask that you guide our thoughts, our actions today, if any actions be taken. Lord, we ask that, first of all, we are thankful for the safety that our people that we're so thankful for the safety that our people enjoyed in Cooke County the other day with all the snow and the ice and everything else. Lord, we ask that you go with us now through this meeting, through the rest of the day. Lead, guide, and correct us in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And Gary, if you would.
Bill, join with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You gonna make it on that big old cushion?
Do what?
You gonna make it on that big old cushion?
I'm going to try to. Okay. Item number 5, public comments on agenda items. And do we have anything?
We do not.
No one has signed up for anything, okay. We're going to item number 6, approval and presentation, excuse me, of the proclamation in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'm going to read the proclamation, at which time we will then approve the proclamation and then present the proclamation. Cooke County Commissioners Court Proclamation in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 20th, 2025. Whereas each year on the third Monday of January, America honors the birth, life, and dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and whereas Martin Luther King Jr. Day is the only national holiday designated as a national day of service to encourage all Americans to volunteer to improve their communities, and whereas it is a time to remember the injustices that Dr. King fought, a time to remember his fight for the freedom, equality, and dignity of all races and peoples through nonviolence, and whereas Martin Luther King was a man who brought hope and healing to America, we commemorate the timeless values he taught us through his example, the values of courage, truth, justice, compassion, dignity, humility, and service that so radiantly defined Dr. King's character and empowered his leadership. On this holiday, we commemorate the universal, unconditional love, forgiveness, and nonviolence that empowered his revolutionary spirit. And whereas Dr. King once said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, now is the time to make justice a reality for all. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Cooke County does hereby recognize Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for his contributions to our country by declaring January 20th, 2025 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Cooke County, Texas. All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the proclamation.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. Motion passes 5-0. We also have last year's that didn't get picked up last year, so I'll be presenting both the 24 and the 25 proclamations. And is anyone here going to receive that proclamation?
Miss Carolyn, too.
One of y'all here to receive the proclamation, or both of you? He can't see because the
Yeah.
pole in the middle of the room.
The hindrance.
Matt, I'll join you right up here in the front here in just a second then. You guys want to join me? Okay, you want to do that? Yeah, that'll work.
Guess I didn't get the gray jacket memo today.
Did you bring them?
Yes.
There's the 24. And if you would, what, your name? Jerry Hendricks. Jerry, okay. Hey, Darlene, we're awfully glad that you could make it today. This is last year's that did not yet present, okay? So I'll be presenting both of them. Heard the proclamation as it was read. And with that, I just want to congratulate you. And there's going to be a celebration, is there not? At the Civic Center. When is that going to be? Monday. This coming Monday. Okay, 10:30. Okay.
Still a parade? Parade too? Okay.
I hope the weather is better than it's been over the last 2 days. Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
So here is the 20 and 24, or 25 and 24 proclamations, and that 25 proclamation will be read at the event next Monday at the Civic Center. And I think I have the pleasure of doing that at the time. So, well, I appreciate it too. Thank you. Thank you so much. What is this?
Stage up.
Come on over here so you can see all. Make sure and don't get Jason.
I'm proud.
Thank you. Thank you. Where's Carolyn? Oh, yeah. She's usually here. Yeah.
She assigned someone else this time.
Did she? Yeah. She knows her power. Yes, she does. All right. Item number 7 is the consent agenda, and the consent agenda includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda.
I need to pull F under bills. We have a deal for Walter Shot Appliance, and I've signed the deal, but I just want everybody to know that that's for propane, I think, for precinct 4.
Okay, so
I'll make,
Commissioner Arndt pulls item number F.
No, it's under E, I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
E under bills.
E,
Anybody got
okay.
anything else? I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda less item E.
All right, Commissioner Snuggs made the motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item number E. Do I hear a second?
Do we need to pull N? You need to talk? Or N? You don't have to? Okay.
Well, in that case, I will approve item number E.
Well, we got to vote on my motion first.
We need to vote for,
Do what
We need to
now?
vote on my motion first.
Which is to,
Approve less E.
that's what I was saying. I seconded your motion.
Oh,
No,
well,
Matt
Matt
already
seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, Matt, I didn't
you're
hear that.
fine.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Sicking. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. The consent agenda passes 5-0 with the exception of item number E.
How did we do it last time, Adam? Should we approve all the bills less that one bill, or just?
It don't matter to me.
Okay,
It's,
well, I'll make a motion that we approve item E as well, and then
I'll just
you can
abstain.
stay for that one, yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to approve the consent agenda, including,
Well, no, I'm just going on item E right now.
just item E, okay, excuse me. And was that the second I heard this time? Second, Commissioner Sicking, to approve item number E. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. The motion passes 4.
One abstention.
Yeah.
Four.
The consent agenda passes 4 to 1 abstention. All in favor? Aye. Item number 8, presentation by Gainesville Economic Development Corporation, the GEDC, for the possible action regarding county Freeport exemption for GEDC. And we have 2 very distinguished gentlemen today to present to us the presentation on the GEDC Freeport exemption. Please take it.
Thank you,
and
Judge.
Identify yourself first, if you would.
William Myers, Executive Director with the Economic Development Corporation in Gainesville.
I'm Will Presson, and I'm here today as Vice President of the EDC.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. We have been working with local industry. I've been here 2.5 years, and one of the things that I came across as I got to know Gainesville and Cooke County was the fact that we didn't have a Freeport exemption. Freeport is you'll hear Freeport and goods in transit. The Freeport exemption refers to inventories that are being held in company-owned properties. Goods in transit would be third party. It requires it to be, the inventory to be held in contractor third party warehouse distribution centers. But the Freeport was first put to the voters in 1989. It gave the local entities the right to be able to approve an exemption for inventory tax. It's tangible personal property. And a lot lot of communities chose to approve that over the next decade or so. Gainesville's a community that approved it sometime back. They don't even know when they approved it. It's been in place so long. Same thing with the hospital district. Probably in the mid 90s. 10 local companies. The companies that want to qualify for this, it's not automatic. So the Freeport applies to inventory that comes into the state, stays in the state 175 days or less, and then gets exported out of the state. So if the inventory never leaves the state as a good or product, it's taxed. The Freeport exemption only applies to inventory that comes into the state, stays 175 days or less, and is shipped out. So businesses, the companies, based on their activity the year prior, they can say, this is what percentage of our inventory, and they have to prove this up. They have to report their inventory levels and prove it to the local appraisal district of what their values are. So they get a certain percentage that turns out that is taxable or is not taxable. Well, we have 10 entities locally that have claimed it in the last few years. 9 of those have claimed it in the last 2 years. And those vary from tax benefits, tax valuations from a couple of $10,000 up to $80+ million in inventory taxable. And the one, and those values percentages range from 10% exempt to 93% exempt on some of the larger values. So Cooke County right now, and I'm saying the county as an area, there are only 3 entities that participate in Freeport. That's Munster Hospital District, Gainesville Hospital District, and the city of Gainesville. So we don't have any of the ISDs in Cooke County or the college or the county participating in that. And that includes like FM lateral roads, the sub-taxes. So when we're recruiting industry, and mind you, this benefits local industry. We have local industry here right now. I can't disclose the name of the company. I've signed an NDA with them. But they are considering where their inventory could be shifted, possibly from out of county into Cooke County. And they're waiting on these types of improvements before they make a decision. And so that's existing industry. We also have people, entities, parties, site selectors that are looking at us and saying, our industry is looking for a place to locate. What's your taxing structure in Cooke County? And they'll always ask, do you have triple Freeport? And whenever they say that, they're looking at the big 3, the city, the county, and the ISD. Now, we have, if you look at it like that, we have single Freeport with the city. We have the city and the hospital district, but the hospital district's taxing rate is so much lower. They really look at the top 3. They want full Freeport if they can possibly get it whenever they're looking at sites. But the big 3 is an indication of what taxing level that site will have as a place to do business, and how expensive will it be for their company they're working with. So currently we have Gainesville, North Texas Medical Center Hospital District, and the Munster Hospital District. We don't have Cooke County, we don't have North Central Texas College, and we don't have any of the ISDs, which there happens to be 3 ISDs located in Gainesville: Sybil's Bend, Lindsay, and Gainesville ISD. So as we're responding to these leads that we get in from either site selectors or companies directly or the state of Texas, they ask us if we have triple Freeport. That's either a checkbox or a no. And if it's a no, we get pulled off the list. We're not even considered. It's that much of a critical factor in the beginning. Now, as I was in Grayson County beforehand, I believe every taxing entity in Grayson County participated. You'll find very similar percentages of participation in Dallas County and Fort Worth and Tarrant County and in Denton County. I tried to look up, see if school districts, every school district I could think of in Denton County, along with the county, participated in Freeport. as I was looking down the list. But new companies seeking out these communities, we want to be, I'm trying to present Gainesville and Cooke County as a place that's more competitive to do business. And this is a major hurdle in us as the EDC being able to present the county to prospects for consideration. As I said, if we don't have it, we get cut. This is a diversifying tool for us. Oil and gas, petroleum products don't qualify for Freeport exemption. We've been very heavy in oil and gas, petroleum in the past. I don't know if that's why we chose not to participate in the past or not, but we're trying to diversify the economy, and a lot of these diversifying opportunities we won't even be able to compete for in the site selection process. So I just want to ask y'all to Will has some numbers. He's a numbers guy, and he has some numbers to share with you, but I'm just asking y'all to consider this and help us be more competitive in the marketplace. Thank you.
Yeah, gentlemen, we've talked about it. I wanted to hand you guys kind of the latest on it. Pass it on down.
These are the counties that participate in Freeport. As I said to you.
Guys, I wanted to just real quick, just touch on the numbers. So you can see the spreadsheet in front of you, and I received this from Doug. I had him confirm our numbers. You can see the companies that currently file and qualify for it, and you can see the percentage in that fourth column. It would represent the percentage of their tangible personal property that would qualify for the exemption, and the net benefit about $60,000. So at the end of the day, the loss to the county, you're looking at about $327,000, and that's on a levy of approximately $23.6 million. So about 1.3% is what we're talking about of the companies that would qualify. And so just historically, you would make that back up within your rate. When you calculate your effective tax rate, the rate necessary to generate the prior year's levy. And so for this next year, you guys roughly, if we calculated this in 25, if this went into effect, if y'all chose to approve this today, the existing companies could file their Freeport exemptions. You file it prior to 4/1 of 2025. These companies, if they chose to file, they would provide, here are our sales for 2024, and out of those sales, this is how many dollars of those sales went out of state in that 175-day period. And so that percentage of those sales is what that exemption would be. So if you had $1 million worth of sales and 50% of those sales went out of state, they would get a reduction of 50% on their tangible personal property on the inventory. So if they had $2 million worth of inventory, it would go on the tax rolls for $1 million. And so the net effect on the first spreadsheet I showed you guys, you can see it's the total value versus where it would be. So out of that $123 million of gross value on a $7.6 billion tax base, that's what you guys have, $7.6 billion. So we're talking about $123 million. Of that, roughly 60% of that would be exempt of the $123 million, or you would net $60,000 in taxes. Yes, sir.
You threw a number right when you first started talking 327. Where is that number coming from?
The 387, Jason, the third column.
Okay.
That would be the tax.
I misheard you then.
That would be 100% of the tax. That 387, but nobody, you can see from the percentages there, that percentage. So on the top row, out of $1,051,819 in tangible personal property value, only 58% of that would be exempt by a free float.
Okay.
Okay?
So it's at the end, at the bottom line is, if all of these companies did do it, it would be a $60,000 loss.
Correct. And that's a number from Doug.
Okay.
And so on a 20, and guys, and Matt, I apologize, I didn't get to talk to you about the Freeport, I tried. But, we've kicked this thing around. Guys, it's a great economic development tool. And it's really for the school districts, it is hold harmless. And William mentioned it, but we're on the agenda for the college. Brent and his team have us on their agenda. They're very favorable of it. And then same thing with Dr. Stewart at GISD. We're on their agenda to go discuss it with them, and we've got positive feedback. The big thing I can't reiterate enough is that when you calculate, as long as we're in this upmarket, so this past year, you guys went from roughly $6.8 billion in a net taxable value in 2023 to $7.6 billion. You have an 11% increase in net taxable value that you put your tax rate on, okay? That resulted in a $23.6 million levy. So the dollars that the county are going to receive, $23.6 million this year. And so we're talking about less than 1.5% of that levy would be in front for this Freeport exemption. But at the end of the day, when you do your truth in taxation calculation and you calculate your effective rate, that value, that dollars that are lost, and in this case, that difference in the 380 and the 60, that dollar loss, at roughly, I'm going to say 1.5%, that would come back in your effective rate calculation. So it's an equilibrium. When your values are up 11%, you've got to reduce your rate 11%. There's other calculations in there, but it's an equilibrium. So if y'all changed nothing last year, your revenue would increase 11%. But however, our legislative body got you guys capped in, as y'all know, at a 3.5% bump. And so that's all you can do. So when you guys approve this Freeport, that 1.5% is, you add it back in your effective rate. So when we talk about the rates just continuing to fall, that's what you want to see, but it's killing you guys. That 1.5% comes back in your effective tax rate calculation. And, you talk to Doug, I think he's talking to you guys to confirm that, but this is a really great economic, tool to enhance new growth in this county. And guys, the only way that it does not recalculate is when we're in a flat taxable value market, which you're not. I look back the last 30 years, we've averaged about 8% a year over the last 30 years. Doug keeps all those numbers. But the way it would hurt you, and I've had this conversation with, Commissioner Hollowell, Commissioner Snuggs, the judge, AP, Commissioner Arndt, is that value starts to fall. And guys, we're not close with that. So in this current market, when we've got an increasing tax base, it's really hold harmless for the county.
So when we first discussed it, and, for the record, it's been discussed individually, not as a court. The number was kind of this 387.
Correct.
Which, is a scary number. That gets divided out by everybody but these 11 companies or 12 companies. But that was, using that number was based off they all would file 100% exemption,
Correct.
which they're not. So we're looking at 60,000 now, which, you look at one company, we get one good swing of company, we can make up that on one company, And we get another Saffron coming here in the next few years, it's a wash.
And put that in perspective, Commissioner Stokes. From 23 to 24, you increase the tax base, the net taxable tax base, not a gross number. The net taxable base is 11%, is $900 million. $900 million increase in the net taxable value from 23 to 24. You went from 6.8 to 7.6. I'm sorry, 781, 431.
And also, for the record, as these values go down, or go up, the tax rate's going down, so I don't want to scare everybody watching the video.
But I would, guys, we kind of beat this dead horse. We're up against, and I'm here, guys, obviously for the EDC. It's a great tool to attract businesses, and you guys are familiar with some of the people we're talking to, and it's really important that we step up and make this happen, because it's a whole harness for the county.
And I just want to add for existing industry as well, because the growth of existing industry is some of the most efficient economic growth to pursue. And this is something that would help our local industry, these 10 or 9 or 10 that qualify for this. It's a tool that would help them be more competitive in the marketplace. And these prospects that are recruiting, that we're recruiting, that are onshoring, looking at finding a location in the United States to serve North America or the Americas, a lot of that is going to be Freeport eligible product, and this is extremely sensitive in their site selection process, because they're not looking at just doing business in Texas, they're looking at doing business in the Americas. And that's who we're trying to recruit, is someone that would be on more of a saffron level as far as where their product gets dispersed to after it's produced locally. That's what we're trying to recruit to diversify the economy. I just wanted to stress on Will, he did a fantastic job with the numbers, and say it's to recruit new industry and to grow existing industry. We're looking at both of those. This is just as important to existing local companies.
Just one clarification, William, when you first started your presentation, you talked about 75 days.
175 days.
175 days that was coming into the state. Did you mean the county or?
Well,
Into
it's
the
the
state.
site of the business, the company operations.
Coming into Cooke County, Judge.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Temporary period of time, and
Yeah.
it's manufactured, it's worked on, they work on the personal property, and then it's shipped out.
It just
And
has to leave the state of
And it's
Texas.
got to go out of state. If it ships to Dallas or to Houston, it doesn't qualify. So it's goods that come in, and then they leave the state. That's a Freeport good.
Gotcha.
Looking at your table with the companies, talking to the 387,000 versus the 60,000, when the one company there is Freeported at 93%, isn't that number going to be real close to what we're going to need to offset this first year?
Yeah,
This first year, we've got to offset. I talked to Doug, I think it's really 313,000 instead of 387, isn't it?
well, I just got this, these were Doug's numbers. After he went back through it, I've seen 2 or 3 different numbers on it. But the reality, though, it's still, so it would happen, people file their application by 4/1, they get approved or denied, and they've got to back it up with balance sheets, with ledgers. It's not just this percentage. So, Doug, the president, approves or denies the exemption. And then the calculation, when he calculates his effective tax rate, in August, you got to set a rate, you got to have your rate set by September 30th. When he calculates that loss in value, Commissioner Hollowell, is going to go in your effective tax rate calculation. So your effective rate, what's it going to take to generate $24.6 million, your prior year's levy? So your levy for 2024, $24.6 million. What is that rate necessary to generate that? And if that's down, well then, if it's 1.5%, your effective rate comes up 1.5%.
Yeah. And I've confessed, I've already said I respect you when it comes to taxes. You forgot more than I know on taxes and tax rates. So, the latest numbers I'm working with suggest we'd have to come up with about 108 million in new revenues, either through increased taxable values or new bills, roughly. That sound about right?
If you just took the 30-year average of 8% growth, and that's looking back 30 years, you were 11% increase this past year. And so you're roughly at 7.6 billion in net taxable value. 8% on that's going to put you at about 8.4 billion. And I don't see any reason to think they're slowing down. I mean, you've got stuff around the road. As long as that continues, as long as you've got an increase in your net taxable value, this is a whole harmless to the county. You recoup it through your effective tax rate.
But I think you and I both agree that even though we're increasing it with the 3.5% revenue cap the state's put on us, we really don't recognize it. Is that?
No, you would, because your 3.5% bump is from your effective rate. So you're going to calculate your effective rate, which would have this reduction in it, and then you can bump that effective rate 3.5%.
And see, that's where my perception is we're passing that off to homeowners, rooftops and stuff of that nature to subsidize the industry. I get where it works if we incentivize and get industry, at some point we should offset that, but initially we pass that off, looks like to me, to the homeowner.
It's not just the homeowners, though.
It's homeowners are small business,
Well, yeah, it's every other business except for these 11.
which is funding about
But-
60% of our current revenue.
And we also don't get a 3.5 bump every year.
Yeah.
It's our unused increments, and we've used them all the last couple of years.
Well-
Right, no, I understand. I'm just, when we've,
Well,
it's
I
not
mean-
just the houses. I don't want anybody to think it's just the houses. It'll be everybody, which I'm a business owner too, so.
I mean, I can look at it several ways. We need to create 108 million in new taxable. Well, this past year, we created 258 million, I believe is the number, which generated 700
Well,
and
that
some
was
thousand.
new. You created
Yeah,
800 million from your net taxable value, went up 800 million from 23 to 24. 258 of that was new. that you-
Yeah, new bills.
You got free money.
The rest was
Yeah,
on
and that's what
value
I'm-
increases.
yeah. So, yeah, the rest of it's on increased taxable values. So we could end up going up on their tax rate, and they could also see an increase in their taxable value.
But, so,
Because their appraisals are growing up, okay? So their appraisals are subject to go up. At the same time, we're gonna go up on the tax rate. So I am, in my mind right now, putting more burden on the taxpayer, and it's a long-term investment or risk.
right, and at the same time, you gotta look at it though, even though it's whatever number you're using, 300 and something, the Freeport is not gonna is not gonna be that whole 300, because the Freeport only counts on things that are turned in less than 175 days that leave the state. So not the whole inventory, some of it's staying in the state, some of it stays over 175 days. So that's where this net number comes down into let's call it, even if it was $100,000, that's a different number than
But if
300.
this is a true number, and they're gonna pay on 93%, that's what you gotta make up.
Well, right, well, that's just one business. This one's 24%.
I know, but that's the biggest part of that right there.
Right.
So,
Guys, we greatly appreciate your consideration of this, and y'all have access to me anytime. I appreciate y'all's time, and thank y'all for what y'all do.
no, I mean, you've taken time, you've tried to educate us, and like I said, I got a ton of respect for the knowledge. I'm just concerned about the county's finances, and it'd be nice to be able to point out when we're not part of the big three, is that the county's tax rate is minimal. I mean, I'm sorry.
31 seconds.
Yeah, but minimal compared to schools, to the cities,
Absolutely.
and stuff of that nature. So,
But that's because your values have done this. You know, so that effective tax rate calculation, I mean, really, your rate should have dropped 11%. You had 11% increase in value, to hold the same revenue, your rate would have dropped 11%. It did.
Yeah.
Because of the 3.5.
the 3.5, yeah. No, it's not a, yeah. I'm not questioning your numbers at all, you know, I appreciate that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
From a practical standpoint, though, with all the other counties around us being signed up for Freeport, what kind of report would you expect to get from the other counties here, for instance?
I mean, it's all public data. You know, we could find out how many companies, you know, turn in their Freeport application every year. I mean, that wouldn't be hard to look at. I think what we're trying to point out is that even these, you know, Monte County, Clay County, these smaller counties, all, you know, Mr. Hall pointed out, we're all smart, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, but the majority of the counties, they do provide it. And I think we're gonna have success with the school districts and the college.
Can you show that map to the camera?
To who?
To the camera? The one, this map? Yeah, if I hold it up, nobody's gonna see it.
Yeah,
Just every county that we touch,
Yeah.
that does provide for it, that's the gist of it.
and
Is it right here?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I did.
So,
Yeah, so,
can you
just
see
for
that?
everybody at home, yeah. This is what's shown pink is us, where we don't offer a county Freeport, and everybody else around us.
But like Grayson County got TI, they might have talked to us if we had a Freeport.
Right.
Which brings up my next question. You do expect that if we entered into this, that companies would just come flocking to us and, all right, we've been waiting for Cooke County to take this leap here so we could come move to Cooke County. So do you have any?
It is an intense competition.
Yeah.
One of the counties that's most direct competition is Wise County, because it's similarly located in proximity to the Metroplex, very similar settings. They have a larger workforce than us, but we have just as dynamic of an economy. And if they're looking at us versus Wise County, this could be a deal breaker. It take us out of it completely, no questions asked, because going through this process that we're trying to do preemptively it takes a lot of time. And site selectors and consultants and companies, they don't have the patience for it. We're trying to do this as a preemptive measure that, and as I've mentioned that I've talked to local existing industry. As I was talking to one of my local industry, they mentioned this as an issue, and I said that we had already started working on this about 4 months ago, that we'd already started having these conversations, and they brought it up, not me.
Have you guys happened to talk to Monte? I mean, because I intend to, do they just simply not have any industry? I mean, in other words, if it attracts new industry to them, they're not trying to offset what we're trying to offset with our current income. So have they done it maybe because it's no impact to them?
Oh, no, well, let me look
Wise
at
I'm
that.
talking about initially.
Wise County's got probably more than we got.
But
They've got
any
some
of them
industry.
Freeport type related though is what I'm wondering.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Bowie's gonna have some.
And they probably did it so long
Well,
ago. that
Monte
they're not
act
having
like
to
they
worry
didn't know
the
anything
offset.
about it.
right. A lot of these, it shocked me when I saw that we only had 2 Freeports. It's not even double Freeport, we had 2, and that it was not the county. Everywhere I've been, the counties participated, the cities participated. Only one of the school districts in Wise County when I was there didn't participate, only one. And it was kind of that case of like Gary, they didn't have much that would benefit from it. But
Matt, you had a comment?
I just talked to Monte County over, and nobody over there knew anything about Freeport tax. They was calling, he called me back twice and was asking about it. And I said, well, it says y'all have it, but they couldn't find anything on the records for it.
yes, and their college participates as well. So that would be a 4. And I don't know about a hospital district there or not, but their college does participate. Whenever Dr. Wallace was looking through the list, he was going through and pointing out other schools, kind of the competing schools, and he named off all of them. He found all of them that he looked for. It's a very pervasive, especially in your more aggressive economic activity counties with more aggressive activity, because it benefits and because it supports the growth, local growth. of existing industry, and we're trying to recruit to diversify. And that's why we preemptively started this to come speak to you, because we see it, I see it when I'm responding to these leads. It's a very direct impact.
And I guess the perception is that the county hadn't managed very well over the last 20 years, but, you know, we managed to improve services. We're debt-free. We've got savings in the bank for emergencies, and we've decreased the tax rate 20 cents in the last 20 years. So, again, I don't know whether, you know, we lack the intelligence on this, or we've made good decisions. But, and of course, this decision's not made. It's still to vote of the folks. And I may go off at some point and talk to Montague Wise and Fannin, and Colin and Grayson, Dallas, that's a whole
The
different financial
60,000 is
situation.
a lot easier to roll the dice, I know that.
Well, if
and-
it were 60,000,
But if you've gone South Cook County, down the interstate, in Denton County, all of that buildup, all up and down I-35 there, I mean, it just seems like it's just,
It stops at the county
Well,
line though.
right?
And our local industry is choosing, some of them are choosing to store their inventory in another county because they don't get taxed as much. The values of those are placed in another county. The workforce related to that is in another county because it costs more for them to store and do business in Cooke County because they don't get the same tax exemption as they can get 15 miles south of us in Denton County. That's our competition. It doesn't matter what the
most of that
population
oil
is.
field related?
No,
It
none
can't
of
be,
it.
it can't be.
It's,
That's what
it's
I'm
not
saying.
oilfield services. These are people operating in this county that have inventory in other counties. Costs them more to do that from an operations standpoint, but it saves them money in inventory tax. And it's just a direct cost of doing business. In Cook County, they don't have in other counties. And we're just trying to get the playing field level with our competition.
We think it's gonna bring more stuff, more value to the county. I think because of
Yes.
exactly what William's saying, we're gonna have people that are already here that have satellite locations that will bring that inventory back.
And don't let, you know, whether we make a decision here today or not, don't let that discourage, because it's, to me, it's just a, you know, it's a big decision. We want to make the right decision. So don't let today, if we don't make a decision right now, discourage y'all, you know, so. I know we've individually talked on the side, but, you know, this is the only time we get to talk collectively as a court. So, you know, it might take us a little bit of time to bounce it off each other, so.
no, and y'all's input's helped tremendously.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Like Gary said, I can't thank y'all enough for what you're doing, you know.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You know, you know, my stance is, you know, with it being, if it's in the 60 range, I'm all in. You know, I still want to be in, even if it's in the 300 range. That's just a big number to swallow and say, hey, we're going to throw this on the other side of the tax bracket. But, you know, if we knew it'd come back in 36 months, it'd be a no-brainer. But, you know, it might take a while to get it back. But, you know, with you know, it's going to be spread out across everybody, not just the homes. It's going to be, and with the values, I don't know. I could talk all day on it, but I'd be curious of some other thoughts from y'all. Not that I don't care about yours. We've already heard your opinion
No, I
on it.
mean, and
Well, it bothers me, for instance, and I mentioned it just a minute ago, how it just seems like Denton County is just, you know, more and more business is coming right up the corridor here. But Adam, you're right, it stops right at the county line, and that's,
Yeah, everything Jerry Jones bought along I-35 stops at the county line in
Yep.
my precinct right there. You can see it, like he bought thousands and thousands of acres and he got to us and stopped, and it's because it's all warehousing. You know, and then there's a lot of people say, oh, we don't want the county to grow to this. But I promise that the industry and the warehousing and these types of things, we want that in our county because it helps the taxes on the houses. less, you know.
Exactly.
We need more industry and more businesses paying taxes so that little homeowners like myself don't have to pay as much on our house.
And don't let my, I mean, I've already pled my ignorance and deferred to Will to say, hey, he's forgot more about it than I know. You know, I'm
The,
hung up on the county's position and trying to do what I think is right. That doesn't make me right here, or
No,
doesn't
and-
give me any
and-
great
and I-
knowledge.
I value it too with, you know, with, if it was the 300 number, that's a big number, but like if it's in the 60s and there, like you said, the accounting procedure will change on these businesses as well. They'll have to prove up these numbers, so it's probably gonna prove up their inventory even stricter where they're not running off of a formula to where it might generate even more numbers, even more taxable value because they're gonna have to sure it up rather than on a percentage per square foot or, you know, something like that. You know, they'll have to say, hey, instead of, well, we have $100 per square foot of inventory in here. Now in that square foot, they have $500 of inventory
Now
in
we
there
have
so they
truth.
can claim the exemption. It's gonna raise the taxable value up, so.
What is your, do you have a deadline here? Are we talking about a deadline?
Well,
No,
When do
this
you
is
have
just-
to know?
Just trying to this is just trying to get this in
Right.
place for the future.
But
Yes.
there's no, for instance, the letter that went out was,
No, we
it
don't.
did not oblige us to
That's-
anything, just said
Two
we,
separate topics, Judge.
no, this is just the process for this, the companies can begin January 1
right,
requesting their exemption for this fiscal year, and they have to have that in, I believe, by April 1.
okay, that's what I was
But
looking for.
what we're trying to do is get this done soon enough so the
Yeah.
appraisal district knows what they are working with.
So the sooner the better, really.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We're just trying to get it in place, and we're going to, we've already requested position on the college agenda,
Yep.
and we're doing the same with the school district. We just need to get it done as soon as possible so that the appraisal district knows what
When are you gonna talk to the college?
this month, just
Okay.
as soon, the first meeting.
All right,
I was hoping Doug was gonna be here. Where's he at?
Invited.
Huh?
I invited him, I talked to him this morning.
Oh, Dougie, you're gonna have to poke on him.
He's
Thank
probably
you.
watching.
I imagine he's a little busy.
I know he's busy and I admire that, but you know, hey, I'd like to have him here for this one. Matt, Adam, what are y'all thinking in your head? Like I said, we don't have to make decisions today, that's all I'm saying. I'm
That's
just,
good, because right now I
I
don't
want
know
more to
enough
chew
about
on.
it. I need to do
Think
a little
about
more
it.
looking.
We need to get industry in here. I mean, house tops is not, I mean, we need house tops, but industry is what's gonna drive it.
well, and it's
It
gonna
just
help
is.
the housetop pay
It
less.
will. It'll bring their rate down. It's just, I mean, look at, you can look at the map and just look around and see what's happening. And if that's one of the factors, we need to be on top of that.
I get it, but this is a forever deal, so I want to make damn sure we're doing the right thing.
Taxes are forever. They always have been.
Yep. That's right.
Well, the exemption, we couldn't take it back once we
Right.
instated, it's there. You couldn't say, oh, well, it hurt our taxes, we're gonna pull it away.
Yep.
so if went forward with this and attracted businesses, which would quite naturally attract more jobs, more,
Yes.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yes, we just need, this is really attractive to manufacturers that are gonna be paying the
But they're
higher,
good jobs.
the higher paying jobs that we're trying to recruit, absolutely.
Or would it attract more warehouses?
It could possibly, but it's the goods in transit that I referred to as the other exemption that you could provide that we're not asking for, that would be more attractive to warehouse and distribution. This would be more attractive to manufacturers slash distribution from a manufacturing plant, or like we have locally, like these examples you see
I was
locally.
just going off what you said a while ago, that some of our businesses are taking it down south and storing it instead of keeping it here. Well, what's gonna keep them from just sitting at warehouses? You know what I'm saying? That's
We-
kind of the same thing.
We would like
Is that
our
not-
local manufacturers, we would like our local manufacturers to expand and bring that inventory locally.
Right.
Then it's more efficient for them, and we've got more employees here.
More buildings.
More
they're gonna build
buildings,
structures,
absolutely.
And that's taxable.
And I'm not trying to argue with it, nothing. I'm
Oh,
just
no, that's
throwing
great.
it out there.
That's a great point.
You know, I can, you know, we get a couple more big businesses, you know, maybe we can get that Target and that Roadhouse that everybody wants and talks about on Gainesville Chatter all the time, so. Because, you know, there are the naysayers, well, I don't want it to just grow and turn into Denton. Well, you know, some parts of it are gonna grow whether we want it to or not, but we need to try to incentivize to have some large businesses to share in the tax load, you know, so. Because, I mean, I said it last quarter, I've got, in the next 5 years, I'll have 5,000 more homes come just to precinct 2. And they'll pay a lot of taxes and add a lot of taxable value to the rolls,
but you
but
could
that's
get-
not, that doesn't
But
help
we could get-
share the, make
Right.
Gary Dale pay less taxes on his home, or you pay less taxes on your home, it just helps the,
But
us
those
on inflation.
5,000 homes, you could get one business in here that could pay more taxes than them 5,000 houses.
Put together, yeah, exactly.
And then you don't have resources as far as your EMS, sheriff's department having to grow to keep up with that volume. And you
Well,
got
see,
200 employees out there that are buying vehicles here, that are eating here, they're living here. That comes back in too. That's what I look at, is growth. We're growing, let's grow with it. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to play Sim City on my phone. And this is like Sim City. If we're behind the 8 ball and don't get in front of it, we're gonna die.
And I'm saying the same thing, we're just
Yeah.
saying from different point of views, which is
Right.
Well,
why there's 5 of us up here.
it would be a much easier decision if we weren't involved in a TERS. Because if all these businesses move out here and they move into a TERS, and we've got one, we're considering 2 more TERSs, and you've attracted all this, you're gonna give up 50% of your income for the next 25 years.
Anything does apply to a term.
This is completely separate from any TERS consideration.
Okay, but if, all right,
If they move into the
if
turf,
they
cannot
move
apply
into the
for it in the
TERS,
TERS.
if they move into the TERS, we will collect 50% of that loan, basically. So
it's better than having 50% of nothing.
I've been hearing that argument a whole lot,
I
but
know. But if they're not here, they're not paying taxes anyway, so.
True.
And some of these businesses that might move into the TERS might pay, even if they're 50% rate, will pay more taxes than some people that are taxed 100%. You know, so it's like, well, that's another thing to look at.
help me, Will, because maybe I'm confused, but if one of these companies move into a TERS and we're part of that TERS,
What does that-
regardless of what, if they're a Freeport, we're not gonna collect anything off their inventory, okay? If they qualify for Freeport.
No, they'll pay it on a percentage, whatever's not
that's over
exported.
175 days.
Well, it could,
And if
I
it
mean, it
sells
could be,
in-state.
I mean, they could only get an exemption on 10% or 5%, just like some of these companies that are on that list you see. A 93% exemption is extremely high, but look at the type of business that is. That's an international airplane component manufacturing company.
That we want to keep.
We want to grow. We want that to grow. We want that more diversified, world-based business. That's what we're trying to recruit here. We're trying to diversify the economy, and this is a critical factor in that diversification. And
I guess where I was headed with that, Will, we're already giving up revenues as part of the TERS, and then we will give up revenue based on inventory.
you're not giving up revenue based on the TERS. It does not cost the county anything to participate in the TERS.
Okay.
Giving
where's-
us the potential of it.
What you have potential for taxes to go to a different fund, but it does not cost the county anything to participate in the TERS.
I was questioning on my 9.8 million the other day, so I went back and pulled the document, and it says feasibility study on TERS 1. The county, the TERS increment would be 9.7 million, so I was a little bit off on 9.8, or it's 900.
That's not a county expense, that's it.
And then we will retain 9,700,000.
Right.
So-
There's a developer in that particular reference that project that you're referencing, or that TERS development that you're referencing, there's a developer that's fronting all of that economic development expense on infrastructure. There's no public entity issuing bonds to install any of that infrastructure. There's no county expense related to that. I mean, the EDC even sold our property to that developer to make that private investment in order to recruit those companies. So when you're looking at it from a county expense, there's no county expense in it. It's if the TERS is successful and the developer's successful. If the developer's successful, the TERS has a chance to be successful in helping fund the infrastructure that the developer fronted. That's it. There's no county expense in it. But you did get extra revenue because that developer helped us recruit new business and industry into the community and paid taxes that they wouldn't have paid had that site not been ready for them. That's the beauty of the TERS.
So there
You're
was a potential
facilitating.
of, there was a potential of $18 million in
Yeah,
taxes.
what
had they
potential?
come in without a TERS, right?
What potential? The only reason you recruited them is because you had a site ready for them. There's no potential for 18 million in taxable revenue if you don't have a site ready for them. That's what the TERS is meant to do, to help redevelop areas and to develop areas. And the development, it's usually a stressed state. It's a lack of infrastructure that justifies you even being able to create a TERS in the first place. But there's no expense to the county related to the TERS. It's off of potential future revenue that's only happening because the entities participated in the TERS and encouraged the developer to take a chance.
Let me ask you this, would either one of you or both of you be willing to come back in 2 weeks and
Absolutely.
give us a chance to talk to Doug, talk to other
Absolutely.
people, and then come back in a couple of weeks and answer any questions we may still have?
Absolutely. It's an important issue, Judge and
Okay.
Commissioners. It's, we would love to leave here today with it approved, but if you guys need more time and the staff needs more time to consider this, we support it. I just feel like it's something that I wish had been in place a long time ago. I wish I wasn't here being the one to bring this up, but I'm happy to be, and I'm happy to come back if that's what's needed. It's a very important issue.
Right. And I think I'm kind of like Jason in this. I want to get a better handle on what it's really going to cost. You know, that first, is it 60, is it 400, is it
Right.
whatever? And that'll give us an opportunity to talk to other counties and talk to other
Yes.
experts. I've already had 2 phone calls on it today, in fact, from
Right.
other experts, okay?
Don't discount Grayson.
Positive, by the way.
Don't discount Grayson County because they're a very similar
Right.
market to us. They've got the same kind of dynamic with 75 coming through it. They've got the same kind of demand pushing off of the Metroplex. Very similar market. I'd say if you're looking at any other counties, Grayson would be the one just directly right above us as far as economic expansion, and Wise County would be the one just directly behind us. Those are the 2 most comparable to us. You can look all around the Metroplex and across the state and find other examples, but they're right here. That's our competition. Someone's looking at Texas, and especially North Texas, we're head-to-head with them, with those 2 counties. Absolutely.
And they're on the checklist and we're not.
They're on this checklist, and we're not, absolutely.
So
Yes.
to roll it back on the agenda next time, if we take no action, it doesn't come back, but
It comes back exactly as it's worded, right?
if we take no action, okay.
Well,
Okay.
but you need to table it for that, do they not? Because if you take no action, it doesn't necessarily come back. You want to table it, guys,
Yeah, I'll-
if that's your choice. You don't want to take no action.
Yeah,
You
I'll
wanna
make a
table it.
motion that we table this and
Just
discuss
table
it
it.
at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it'll come back exactly as it is, which is the way we
okay.
want it.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I got a motion on the floor.
Do it.
I got a motion on the floor.
Two.
Table it.
Second, I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I'll second it, I'm sorry.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to table item number 8 on the agenda. Second, Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item number 8 is tabled until, we'll bring it back in 2 weeks. All right. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible action regarding Kitty Herman's request to waive property tax for Lil Leopard's Learning Ladder. That just kind of rolls off your tongue there, doesn't it?
It's actually it would be waived for any child care center. So what y'all would be voting on is waiving,
Have to be at the
Oh.
microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, stay up there and just identify yourself.
okay, Kitty Hermes, Little Leopard's Learning Ladder. So what y'all would be voting on is waiving, it's a tax abatement for the city and the county. The city's already approved it. For any child care center that is not a 501(c), has 25% subsidized child care, and the property's owned. Like there's a couple that the people lease the building, so they would not qualify. As of right now, we are the only ones, Little Leopards is the only one that qualifies because we do have more than 25% subsidized. We are owned, we're not a 501(c). I think those were the two main things. The other child care center that is owned, that is not a 501(c), is Kid Care, and they rent their play. The one over in Lindsay is owned, but they are, you have to be Texas Rising Star. That was the third thing. You have to be Texas Rising Star. We have been since I own them. We were a 4-star. We did drop down to a 3-star over at the Ranchette, but at Broadway, our original location, we are still 4-star. We're being assessed again this first quarter, so hopefully we go back up to 4-star at all of the locations, which that's, Texas Rising Star is simply a quality rating. You have to follow minimum standards, which is the state, and then Texas Rising Star is elevated.
And annually, it has to be reapplied for, correct? Not-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is a form that we would fill out and send to Doug, which we did because it was approved in 2023 and then kept getting the runaround. So hopefully we'll get it approved for 2025.
I think last time we talked, it doesn't make any difference if you're in the city limits or you're out in the county, does it?
It does not.
Okay.
No, obviously our one that is on Broadway would be city and county, and the one over by the high school would be county only.
Okay, and they don't do background checks on your students?
Not on the students. Every staff
There's
member
a
though.
story here, but that,
She's excited to have a little brother.
oh, so you know.
Did you say you're the only one in the county or just the only one in the city that's qualified?
Only one in the city. I know Lindsay does not qualify because they are not Texas Rising Star. Munster is Texas Rising Star, but doubtful that 25% are government subsidized.
That's the other catch.
I made this copy, and I apologize, I didn't make enough this
Wait.
time.
We have it in our packet, but you can bring whatever you like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if it,
Okay. And would you like that?
I'll put it with the packet, yeah.
Honestly, I don't think they have that.
what percentage
Is it
is
not,
she
is it something
asking?
different? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Give it to Matt.
Yeah, I know.
Matt
Oh,
was
yeah.
here last time, Adam was.
Now, Valley View doesn't apply to,
Judge had one.
Okay.
well, we didn't run you guys off, did we?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Sunday at Grump, he said hi to everybody in Cooke County.
Thank you,
Hey,
Gary.
good to see y'all.
And what percentage?
So
of
what
equipment-
this shows you is, this was just a quick snippet. So we have, I just did the 2 schools. We also have a school that is in Edison Elementary. All of those kids are considered at risk, and half of them are government subsidized. But this is just a snippet out of our food care program, and you can see that the Broadway location, which is the top, we have 95 kids enrolled as of the end of December. 26 are CCMS, which are government subsidized. But you can see in our, this comes from our food program, that 46% of them are free and reduced. They may not qualify. I had one parent that made $2 too much with what she sent in and didn't qualify. So we helped her personally, but she did not qualify for government. So there's a lot in here that just talks to what we do offer for the community. When we built the one over by the college, we built it specifically to help. I had a young lady that had her child when she was 13 and dropped out of school. I had another one that had 2 kids that in my program. She was 20 at the time, but she had dropped out at the age of 17 and did not get her GED or anything. So we wanted it right there, number one, so we could help if anyone got pregnant. We hold a slot, 1 slot for an infant. Obviously, they're always aging up, but we hold a slot for an infant so that if someone at Cooke County in Gainesville got pregnant, the baby could start school with us, we pay for it. But they have to stay in school and they have to pass. So that was our thought process for building right there. It took us over a year to get that property, but that was the intent. The other intent was to give the students in Gainesville that typically don't have access to farm animals. My husband and I fostered 26 kids, and fostering on a ranch is so much different than fostering in town. So we thought, we have goats. Tim Sicking has the cows right on the property. We have rabbits and chickens and ducks and a pond to go fishing. We have prayer at the pond every 2 months, every second Saturday. So it is for the community, but as you can tell by the percentage of free and reduced, it's more of the rural. We have folks from Lindsay and Era and Valley View coming in, so it's not as the inner city that I had hoped. We do have some of that, obviously, with 24 of the kids subsidized.
What percentage of abatement are you requesting?
100%.
What percentage is government subsidized already?
We're at 25% right now.
Government subsidized.
And we are Texas Rising Star, and we are not a 501(c)(3).
How would you pass this off to your customer or your consumer?
Our intent is to not have, right now, if you look at the newest daycare in town that is a 501(c)(3) on Culberson, they are the highest priced. They opened 2023 and had a price increase within the first 6 months, and they do not pay any taxes, and they are the highest. We are the lowest other than one, and that was what used to be Claude Jones. And so our intent is to continue to keep our costs down so that we can not raise our prices. We're Texas Rising Star, meaning we are the best. We want to keep that quality and not increase our tuition. I have a meeting at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We're looking at opening one more, but it will be in a church. Because the first one, when we took over Edison in 2017, it was losing $1,000 a week, but I had 5 foster kids that were going to that daycare, and we had to keep it open. So we prayed a lot and ended up buying it. Getting it turned around right away, we had a wait list, so we built Broadway. Within 6 months, we had that one filled and a wait list. So we built this other one, and now we have a wait list. So it is offering good quality childcare, so these kids, when they graduate with us, they're kindergarten ready, and they truly have a safe place to stay and learn and grow and help those families so that they can get all those jobs that William and them are bringing in. But really, that has been our mission, is to help families. It is for the kids, but it's, you know, if you're not having to worry about where your kid is staying for 10 hours a day, then that person can be very productive.
You said you had this in 23?
It was approved in November of 2023 by the state.
Okay.
She's just asking us to approve it.
Sounds like in each daycare has to come and request it. It'd be
Yes.
available to everybody, right? But
It's
everybody
available
can
to
request it.
everybody.
It has to meet that three criteria, though.
They have to meet that three
Have to be Rising
criteria.
Star.
And I believe that we just fill out a form. Once we get it approved, we fill out a form with Doug. Because he told me we had to come here first, and then once we get all of this done, then the city is what took so long. We finally got it approved through the city a year later. But it's just filling out that form, getting the letter from the workforce, telling how many students. And that's an annual.
Crap. Okay.
Cat got your tongue?
Don't have mine. I move to make the motion to approve give her the 100%. I think they're doing a great job out there. I think it's for our kids, and if she can keep doing that and doing more, I applaud you.
Yeah, I do too.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Arndt to do away with 100%. Is that the way you want it to read, or? Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
I have a question though.
Okay.
On that bill, is it 100% or nothing?
No.
Okay, I
No,
was just
sir.
curious. It doesn't affect my motion. I'm sitting here trying to get to the taxes, and that's took me a minute.
Neither of these are in a residence. They're standalone operations.
They
I
are.
heard it's that big
Gary.
building behind Tom's Own there
Gary,
by the fire.
can you put your mic?
I didn't want to be
Kitty,
heard.
the only question I have is, if we do away, or if we pass this, will that have any impact upon, you know, whose
Tuition.
tuition?
It will not. It will not have an impact today. Obviously, you know, our costs are continuously going up. It just helps us maintain our overall costs.
Okay. Only for that reason, I'm going to abstain from this, but
That's not
How's the workforce tie into the Texas Rising Star? Do you employ folks through them? And then,
No, so the workforce solutions are the ones that rolled out Texas Rising Star. Now they are, we have a mentor through the workforce, but it is through somebody through the state now that comes in and does the audits and just reports back. Because our subsidies, if we are not Texas Rising Star, we get 0 subsidies. But if we're, say, a 2-star, our subsidy would be lots less. Grants that we get are predicated on we get more grants if we're Texas Rising Star. We were very fortunate. 2024 wasn't so good to us, but before that, we were very fortunate in getting grants to buy equipment, new tables, chairs, beds, all of that.
did you get your question answered? Okay. We have a second then, Commissioner Snuggs, on the motion. Any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none, and one abstention. So it passes 4 to 1 abstain. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate y'all.
Thank you for what you do. Hmm?
Did the motion include the percentage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said 100.
He said 100%.
And Shelley pointed out, which is in our package, if we were to negotiate it, it has to be at least a 50%
Yeah.
abatement per the state code.
Yeah.
So if you see Dixie today, tell her hello. And behave. All right, item number 10, deliberate and consider possible action regarding allowing Precinct 4 to create an additional road crew position. Commissioner Sicking.
Yeah, I've got one that's talking about retiring toward the end of the year, and I've got a good prospect I'd like to take on and start training. Odds are, by the end of the year, or first part of next year, it'll be back down and won't be an empty position again, but right at the minute, I would like to take it on for some training.
So is this going to be a permanent new position
Yeah,
or just,
I guess it'd be a permanent one, but it probably won't be filled all the time. I mean, that makes sense.
well, it does if you say it does.
I'm trying to figure
Makes
out what
sense.
she pays in taxes. I can't find it. I know, but I don't know why I can't find it.
I guess you're gonna make a motion
I'll make the motion for him.
for him to hire his person?
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that on a man.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to go ahead and create that new position in
You know
precinct.
whether he can afford it or not? You know whether it's in his budget?
No,
You know how
I'm
many
just
people he's
kidding.
got?
I'm just saying I support it. Let him make his own
That's not
motion.
something we normally do.
That's what I was gonna say. Normally it's one of us that make it so that it's not. Yeah, I would make the
Well,
motion.
typically, you don't have personnel, but if he's got his budget.
We
it's not a
don't-
problem, just
But it's
increase his
road
salary
crew,
line.
so it's a different.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking whenever Adam added his, one of us
So
made the motion.
Elizabeth said it in that
Okay.
position.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Which one?
I,
Okay, I think the first second came from down on this end of the, so Commissioner Hollowell, with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none.
Thank
That motion passes 5 to 0. Okay, item number 11 is executive session. Does anybody have anything that we need to discuss in executive session?
Actually, I would like to for just a couple minutes, if y'all don't mind.
All right, if that's the case, item number 11, executive session in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes annotated consultation with an attorney regarding, and our attorney isn't present today,
You want-
however, do we need an attorney?
No.
not if it's a personnel issue or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to keep,
Say again.
we want to keep Shelley, hang out. You
Oh,
want
I'd
Shelley in
love
here?
to.
It don't matter, yeah. I mean, it's nothing major. I just,
Okay.
you want to sit through it, you're welcome to.
I just knew if it's finances, you know.
It's just,
Shelley, would you mind staying?
I don't have a clue what it is, but I just.
Okay,
you got your,
then, yes, I do.
And I need a time to close.
what time you going?
And we're gonna go at,
Let me
11:24. work this time?
I don't know if yours did, but mine's working.
Okay.
I wasn't in here. Hopefully it did.
Okay, guys, we will reconvene from executive session into normal court at 11:46. Item number 12, deliberate and consider possible action regarding consultation with attorney regarding proposed actions and advice to the court, real property contracts being negotiated, or any personnel matters, and be no action. Brings us to item number 13.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Hart, second Commissioner Snuggs, to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjournment fell on item 13.
Do what?
I said adjournment fell on item 13.
Yes, it did. All right, so court,
13th
we will adjourn at, we'll call it 11:47.